Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most shocking and intense developments in the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, the massive escalation in Crimea, where Ukrainian forces have launched devastating strikes that have left Russian bases, depots, and naval assets in flames. The Crimean Peninsula, once thought to be an untouchable stronghold for Moscow, has become a blazing battlefield. In this video, we'll explore how Ukraine managed to pull off these incredible attacks, what's really happening behind the scenes, and why this could mark a major turning point in the war. Over the past few weeks, satellite images, eyewitness videos, and official statements have confirmed widespread explosions across Crimea. Russian ammunition depots, air defense sites, and fuel storage facilities have been obliterated in precision strikes. The scale of the damage is unprecedented: black smoke rising over Sevastopol, massive secondary explosions rocking Russian positions, and chaos spreading through Russian logistics routes. Ukrainian officials say these are not random attacks but carefully coordinated operations aimed at dismantling Russia's military control over Crimea. The most shocking part is the accuracy of Ukraine's strikes. Using advanced Western supplied weapons, including long-range ATACMS missiles and sea drones, Kiev has managed to hit deep into Russian defenses. One after another, key Russian sites have been reduced to rubble. Fuel depots that powered the Black Sea Fleet, radar stations, air bases, and command centers all hit within days of each other. Russia's ability to launch missile attacks from Crimea has been severely crippled. Military analysts describe this as one of the most successful counteroffensive phases Ukraine has ever launched. For months, Ukraine had been preparing for this moment. After gaining crucial intelligence from reconnaissance drones, satellite imaging, and Western partners, Ukrainian special forces began striking at soft spots in Russia's defenses. Their goal wasn't just to cause destruction, but to send a clear message: Crimea is no longer safe for Russian forces. The strikes were carried out with stunning precision, targeting infrastructure that supports Russia's war effort without wasting resources or exposing Ukrainian assets to unnecessary risk. The Russian reaction has been one of panic and confusion. Videos from Sevastopol show Russian civilians fleeing as smoke billows from nearby bases. The Kremlin quickly declared emergency meetings and tried to downplay the attacks, but the damage is too severe to hide. Russia's Ministry of Defense claimed to have intercepted several missiles, but local sources and satellite evidence clearly show widespread destruction. This isn't just a symbolic victory for Ukraine, it's a logistical nightmare for Moscow. Crimea, annexed by Russia in 2014, has long been a cornerstone of its military operations. It serves as a launch platform for missile attacks, a supply hub for troops in southern Ukraine, and a base for the powerful Black Sea Fleet. By striking deep into Crimea, Ukraine isn't only attacking military assets, it's striking at the heart of Russia's confidence. The message is unmistakable: nowhere is safe, not even the territory Russia claims as its own. What makes this even more fascinating is how Ukraine adapted its strategy. Instead of focusing solely on frontline combat, it's now applying what experts call strategic paralysis, systematically dismantling Russia's logistics, communications, and morale. Destroying supply depots and fuel reserves forces Russian troops to operate with fewer resources. Hitting radar systems blinds their defenses. Striking airfields keeps Russian aircraft grounded. Every move is calculated to weaken Russia's warfighting ability without requiring massive troop advances, and it's working. Reports suggest that Russian forces stationed in Crimea are struggling with supply shortages and morale collapse. Some units have even begun evacuating equipment to safer regions of Russia. The once boasted Black Sea Fleet, a symbol of Moscow's naval might, now hides in fear. Ukraine's sea drones and missile attacks have sunk or heavily damaged several major ships. The fleet's command structure has been thrown into disarray, forcing Russia to move vessels from Sevastopol to Novorossiysk, hundreds of kilometers away. The psychological impact of these strikes cannot be overstated. For years, Russia portrayed Crimea as an untouchable fortress, a permanent part of the Russian Federation. But now, explosions rock that illusion daily. Russian citizens living in Crimea are realizing that the war has come to their doorstep. Panic buying, evacuations, and blackouts have become common. The once bustling beaches of Sevastopol are now empty, replaced by the echo of air raid sirens. Ukraine's success in Crimea is not accidental. It's the result of months of adaptation, Western military support, and intelligence cooperation. Long-range precision weapons like the Storm Shadow and ATACMS have allowed Ukraine to strike far behind enemy lines. But it's also about Ukrainian ingenuity, the use of homemade sea drones, modified Soviet-era missiles, and decoy operations that confuse Russian air defenses. Kiev's military leadership has mastered hybrid warfare, combining traditional military tactics with cyber operations, electronic warfare, and psychological pressure. Russia, meanwhile, is struggling to respond. Its air defenses, once thought to be among the best in the world, are being overwhelmed. Ukraine's drones and missiles attack from multiple directions, saturating radar coverage and striking at night. Even the much feared S-400 systems have failed to protect key locations. Each destroyed depot or command post is a blow not only to Russia's military capacity, but also to Putin's prestige. For a leader who built his image around restoring Russia's power, the loss of control in Crimea is deeply humiliating. On the propaganda front, Moscow continues to claim that everything is under control, but the truth tells another story. Russian bloggers and pro-war commentators are openly criticizing their own military leadership, accusing generals of incompetence and the government of deception. The cracks in Russia's internal narrative are growing wider with every new explosion in Crimea. For ordinary Russians, the idea that Ukraine can strike Crimea with impunity is both shocking and demoralizing. Meanwhile, Ukraine's morale has skyrocketed. Videos of successful strikes are celebrated across social media, showing Ukrainian missiles slamming into targets with pinpoint precision. Each explosion is seen as a symbol of defiance and progress toward reclaiming Crimea. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has vowed repeatedly that Crimea will be liberated, and now that promise feels closer to reality than ever before. These strikes are not just about territory, they are about justice, sovereignty, and national pride. But this escalation also carries risks. Russia is likely to retaliate with more missile and drone attacks on Ukrainian cities. The Kremlin may also escalate in other regions or attempt cyber attacks against Western infrastructure. However, as Ukraine's resilience continues to grow, the balance of power is slowly shifting. Western nations have reaffirmed their support, supplying Ukraine with more advanced air defense systems and long-range weapons. NATO intelligence continues to feed Ukraine with crucial data, ensuring its strikes remain effective and devastating. The burning of Crimea symbolizes more than a tactical victory. It represents the unraveling of Russia's illusion of control. When Russian soldiers watch their own fuel depots and aircraft burn, their confidence collapses. When the Black Sea Fleet can no longer dominate the region, Moscow loses its grip on southern Ukraine. And when Ukrainian forces strike so effectively, it sends a message to the world that determination, innovation, and courage can overcome even the largest military power. In the coming weeks, we can expect Ukraine to continue this campaign. The strikes are part of a broader strategy to isolate Crimea, making it unsustainable for Russia to defend or supply. By cutting off bridges, rail lines, and depots, Ukraine aims to choke the peninsula economically and militarily. Every destroyed base pushes Russian troops closer to retreat. Every successful strike reminds the world that the war is far from over, and that Ukraine is still fighting with unmatched resolve. The situation on the ground remains fluid. Russian forces are redeploying air defense units from other regions to protect Crimea, leaving other areas more vulnerable. Ukraine's intelligence services are exploiting these shifts to plan new attacks. Western analysts believe Ukraine could be preparing for a large-scale operation aimed at isolating Crimea completely, possibly even cutting off the Kerch Bridge, the main link between Russia and the peninsula. If that happens, Russia's occupation could crumble from within. As the smoke continues to rise over Sevastopol, one thing is clear: Crimea is no longer the safe haven Russia once believed it to be. Ukraine's strikes have exposed the vulnerability of Moscow's most prized possession. The psychological shockwaves are spreading across the Russian military and society, forcing many to question whether holding on to Crimea is worth the mounting losses. For Ukraine, these victories are not only military but symbolic. Crimea is where this war began in 2014, and for many Ukrainians, reclaiming it represents the ultimate justice. Each explosion in Sevastopol, each destroyed Russian ship, each burning fuel depot brings that dream closer. The peninsula that Russia once paraded as proof of its power is now a fiery reminder of its overreach. As the war continues, the world is witnessing a remarkable transformation. Ukraine, once underestimated, has turned into a master of modern warfare. Its blend of technology, intelligence, and strategic patience has forced a superpower onto the defensive. And as Crimea burns, the world sees what happens when determination meets desperation, when a nation refuses to surrender its future. No matter how Russia tries to spin it, the reality is undeniable. The once invincible Black Sea Fleet is crippled, supply lines are collapsing, command centers are in ruins, and morale among Russian forces is at an all-time low. What we're seeing is not just a series of attacks, it's the systematic dismantling of an empire's illusion. Ukraine's message is loud and clear: Crimea will be free. The flames lighting up the night skies over Sevastopol are not just the signs of destruction, they are the sparks of liberation. And as the world watches, one thing is certain: history is being rewritten before our eyes, and the outcome will shape the future of Europe for generations to come. If you found this analysis informative, make sure to stay tuned for more updates on the war in Ukraine and the shifting balance of power in the region. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay aware, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next video.